loyal followers who have followed us throughout. Andrew, I don't know if you're still there, but I want to thank you for your presentation and providing some great images and clarity on the type of devices that that Tetra make. We are just about at 1 o'clock local time here in the Pacific region, and of course we are streaming Canada-wide, so you may be joining from Ontario, so it would be in the afternoon there, or in the Atlantic provinces. Without further ado, it's a really fancy name, and netClé, and what does that mean? And well, who's going to tell us about it? So it's my pleasure to introduce David Ostro. When I say of an individual who's done just about everything there is for the Disability Foundation and its affiliated societies and Tetra, David started as a volunteer for one of our societies, Connectra, and then he and I first met in 2001, and we found that we like to drink good beer, we like basketball, and most importantly, we like helping people. And Dave has been involved with Tetra for 19 plus years. He was the manager of our Connector program. He was our funds development manager for well over a dozen years, raising funds for our programs. And the great thing is we're still here and still expanding, so that means we have special things come up and special projects, and that is his role now as our project specialist, and that involves internally and also helping promote such things. And this was an offshoot of Tetra, designed by volunteers in Ottawa, netClé, and here to talk about that, and he's been really instrumental in getting it off the ground, is my longtime colleague, David Ostro.
All right. Well, thanks, Eric. Appreciate the bio, and yeah, it's been a terrific quite a few years working together and on Tetra and the various organizations that are affiliated with the Disability Foundation. And yeah, for close to the past year now, I've been pretty heavily involved in the netClé project, and it's been a wonderful experience, and I think we've learned a lot about the device and helped a lot of people with it along the way. So yeah, just wanted to tell everybody a little bit about it here today. It's of course great to be a part of TetraCon. It seems like the sessions have been going really well. I've sat in on a few this morning, and yeah, I think it's been going really well. Hope everybody's been enjoying it and found the earlier sessions informative. I'll try and you know, do my part to keep up with the standards that my coworkers and colleagues have set. As Eric mentioned, I'll focus on netClé. It's a unique assistive device. Here, let me just share my screen here so everybody can see what we're talking about. And there we go. So yeah, so netClé, as you can see there, it's our slogan is your key to accessible computing. And what netClé is it's a unique assistive device that offers solutions to make computing and accessing the internet more accessible for people who face physical obstacles in operating a computer. Sort of one of the key criteria that I've found over the course of the project has been, if somebody has difficulty using a computer mouse, whether it's holding it, clicking the buttons, scrolling, all of those kinds of things, it's very likely that we could find a solution through netClé to make those things possible. And in case anybody's wondering, of course, about our rather unique name, Clay, as many of you probably realize, those who remember their high school French, Clay is the French word for key. So that's where we came up with that slogan of netClé being the key to accessible computing. And like so many Tetra devices, netClé was originally conceived by and created by some Tetra volunteers. And they were, inspired by, a person's needs. Somebody, in fact, they were working with the staff at a long-term care facility in Ottawa and to come up with a solution so that it was actually a couple of their patients there could operate computers and also some other electronics. So yeah, so like thousands of Tetra devices that have been created over the years, netClé was created by and inspired by volunteers. And let me just go to the next slide here. And yeah, as I mentioned, the device was created in Ottawa. It was a group of our volunteers there that collaborated with the staff at a long-term care facility. They tested and refined the device with several patients, and it did, help them to be more independent in using, as I mentioned, computers and even a few other applications that netClé can be tailored for. So, the success that they had there is really what led us to think that netClé had the potential to, be a cost-effective solution to enhance the accessibility of computers for, people with disabilities in a wide variety of settings and scenarios. And so we basically started to create the netClé project so that we could test the device with people with varying needs and of course, with Tetra's being a national organization, gave us the opportunity to test it with people across the country and to gather feedback and to improve the device and make it as good as it can be. And of course, we're still in that process right now. We're I guess about 2/3 of the way through the project itself, and we've secured some funding from the federal government through Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, and basically to make the device available to hundreds of Canadians and people who face physical obstacles to operate a computer, and basically to distribute the device for free to people and gather their feedback and continue to refine and improve it. And actually what happened was we were about halfway through the installing the first 100 or so of the netClé devices when, of course, COVID-19 restrictions came into effect, and we sort of had to basically revamp the project. What we had been doing initially was going to people's homes and assessing their needs and configuring the device and installing it for them right there in their homes, much as, of course, we've done many times, thousands of times over the years with all Tetra devices. So basically what we had to do at that point was come up with a method so that we could continue to make netClé available to people, because one of the things that we identified was the fact that with the isolation that's going on currently, the netClé could really benefit people by helping them to be less isolated, by connecting them with their computers, enabling them to use computers independently would facilitate things like emailing and surfing the internet, and of course taking part in Zoom sessions and things of that nature. And so we really saw an opportunity. So we came up with a method to install the device remotely, and I'll get into a little bit more of a description of that shortly. But I thought maybe I'd start by just introducing a few of the basics about netClé, and I'll run this video to do that. Yeah. So as you heard there, netClé has the ability to make computing more accessible. It's basically an assistive technology that facilitates, the control of various computer functions through a range of input devices and different controllers. The heart of the device itself is what we call the netClé hub, as you see in the picture there at the bottom. It's basically got a custom designed circuit board inside, and what it enables is the device to be configured by adjusting settings and programming different input devices, and that ranges, as you saw in the video, from joysticks to button switches to touch sensors, and we even have a device called the gyro, basically a gyroscope, which can be attached to a hat or to a person's eyeglasses, and where essentially you can control mouse movements and clicking by tilting your head. So it really does provide a range of adaptability and accessibility for people depending on their level of physical ability. And basically its programmability means that a combination of devices also can be configured, so that, you know, a joystick can be used to move the mouse cursor, while a touch sensor can be used to do, you know, mouse clicks, things like that. Or if someone, say for example, only has use of one hand, the joystick itself can be programmed to do all of those things. So it really, as I say, it's one of its beauties is its versatility, and of course that, you know, fits in large degree with the spirit of one of, you know, Tetra's founding principles, which is because no two people's disabilities are the same, the solutions to overcome the obstacles that they're facing requires, you know, that kind of adaptability and versatility. So yeah, let's take a little look at some of the other things that netClé can do.
Can you hear the audio, Dave?
I'm sorry?
Are you able to hear the audio?
Yeah, are you not?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure it's coming through.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we may need to, when you share your screen, can you share the computer sound?
What do I need to do that?
There should be an option when you share screen to also share audio.
Yeah, if you click on share screen, does it say share computer audio?
Let's see.
The one little square.
Let's see, share computer sound. There we go. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Shall I start the video back from the beginning?
Yeah, and maybe play the other one too, because I don't know if it came through on the other one. I wasn't sure if it was just my machine or other people's, but I've made that mistake in the past myself. You have to share this, click the arrow to share the sound.
Okay, apologies. I didn't realize that wasn't clicked. Okay, well, let's go back to the to that first video, and we'll play that one, and then we'll jump back to this one.
netClé is a device that translates what you can do to what you want to do.
We hear it.
netClé is the first access method device that is affordable and customizable. Users with varying degrees of mobility are able to tailor inputs to their exact needs, allowing them to interact with their computers by plugging in one or more sensors or switches that they are able to manipulate. And by using open source software and inexpensive hardware, netClé is available at an accessible price. From a single button to joysticks and gyros, users no longer have to consider their barriers. They can consider the possibilities. Please visit us at netclé.ca to explore the possibilities and start your journey with netClé.
Great. Okay, so that was, as I say, our first video there, and here was the one that that talks a little bit more about how to start using netClé.
netClé needs a few things to work. Let's go over the basic components. You need a computer, the netClé hub, at least one peripheral, and the appropriate software. Once the configuration software has been installed, the netClé hub can be configured. Plug in the netClé hub. There are a wide range of peripherals that can be plugged into netClé. Peripherals made by netClé are color-coded yellow and green to make it simple to connect them to the correct port. Please check your peripheral's color before plugging it into the appropriate input. To begin using netClé, ensure the desired peripherals are securely connected to the hub, and connect the hub to the computer using a USB cable. In case you run into any issues, make sure the cables are all firmly connected. Please refer to the netClé user manual for more detailed troubleshooting support. This is a powerful system that provides many ways to interact with your computer. Please visit us at netclé.ca to see what is possible with netClé.
Okay. Yeah. So as you see there, there's a lot of possibilities. The netClé being very versatile and customizable, can be configured to do just about any computer function and control the different functions on the computer, whether you want to surf the internet or look at photos and videos or read and send emails, and of course even for people who use their computer for work and need to operate elaborate software, netClé is entirely capable of being set up to operate all kinds of functions. We have a fellow, in fact, pictured right there, who's actually a graphic designer and uses the gyro on his netClé specifically, for example, had it programmed to do drag and drop. This fellow, for example, had several assistive technologies that he uses to operate his computer for his profession, and yet didn't have anything that could easily click and drag the icons around on the computer and that kind of thing. And sure enough, the netClé was able to be programmed to do exactly that. So he actually uses the netClé in conjunction with other controllers. So yeah, it really, as I say, has a lot of capabilities, and so one of the key things we look at, that of course is a fairly sophisticated application for it, but really what you can do is just think about what functions are difficult to perform, whether it's moving the mouse cursor, clicking, scrolling, etc. There's really the opportunity to set up netClé to do all of those activities. So yeah, in fact, and so to see a little bit more about what's possible, let's take a look at some of the peripherals that we've created for netClé, and it'll sort of illustrate that a little bit more. And I should mention as well that in addition to the devices that you see in the picture there, the various buttons and switches and sensors, that a vast variety of the commercially available buttons and switches and things can be plugged into the netClé as well. We have an adapter that can be used to accommodate, as I say, all kinds of commercial joysticks and buttons and switches. So here, let's see a little bit more about netClé peripherals.
There are many peripherals that can interface with netClé. Each peripheral can be programmed to operate on its own and perform key control functions, such as moving the cursor and clicking. Or, two or more peripherals can be connected at once to each perform a separate function. Choosing a solution depends on each user's unique needs. In this video, we will introduce peripherals that might fit the needs of most users. We will be highlighting a joystick and button combination. The joystick functions as a mouse, moving the cursor up, down, left, and right. Let's see this in action. When you move the joystick, the cursor moves. You can move it continuously in the direction you desire. You can pause briefly and tap the cursor to the desired location. When you let go, the netClé hub will give a beep tone. This lets you know it is ready for another control function. let's explore the next peripheral, a touch sensor. This touch sensor has been programmed to perform a mouse click. You activate it by pressing on it with one finger. When you let go, the sensor will be ready for the next input. You can activate a mouse click by touching the button briefly. Buttons and sensors can also be programmed to move the cursor. Finally, let's explore the gyro. When a gyro is attached to a headband or a hat, it allows a user to control a cursor by moving their head. By moving your head up, down, left, right, the cursor moves in that direction. To stop the cursor, move your head in the opposite direction. It can also be set up to perform left and right mouse clicks. In this setup, mouse clicks are being done with the touch sensor. This is just the beginning of what is possible with netClé. If you're wondering how the standard peripherals can be customized, or if you're curious about what other devices can be connected, please visit netclé.ca.
So as you see, all kinds of possibilities and capabilities, and as I mentioned, in addition to the peripherals that we've created specifically for netClé, that all kinds of commercially available buttons and joysticks can also be paired with it. In addition, as I was mentioning earlier, the netClé can be used in addition to standard input devices like mice and keyboards and things. One of the things that we've found has been particularly powerful with netClé is to combine it with voice recognition software. And so in that way, netClé can perform a lot of the directional and controlling sort of aspects of the computer, while then someone who faces a challenge to use a keyboard can then position their cursor in the correct box on say a website or in software like Microsoft Word, and then use their voice recognition software to compose their letter or write an email, those kinds of things. So it can really be a part of a larger solution for people who require that. And in terms of choosing the right input device or combination of devices, it really starts with establishing what someone wants to do on the computer, and then assessing what type of input devices a person will be most able to operate, whether that's buttons, joysticks, the gyro, that kind of thing. And then once one or more input devices is identified and selected, its settings can be customized in terms of things like how fast you want the mouse cursor to move and how long a delay you want between moving between the different functions. Because as I said, you can take a single touch sensor, as you saw in the video, and have it do 6 or 8 different functions. And so what you do is you program it so that you tap the button once and it goes into one mode, and then you tap it twice and it goes into a different mode, and then of course it'll reset to its pause state, if you will, and be ready for its next command. Yeah, it really, as I say, has huge capabilities, and it's just a question of identifying someone's needs and abilities and customizing the device to accommodate that. So the next video illustrates that a little bit. Let me run that for you here.
netClé is a very customizable solution, and the input peripherals can be fine-tuned to meet individual users' needs. For a joystick, the tap speed can be adjusted to user preferences. A joystick can be configured to be a mouse with left and right clicks. When the joystick is set up as a mouse, and netClé gives a low beep, performing a quick tap down and release is a left click, and a quick tap right and release is a right click. With the touch sensor, a light box can be added to indicate the mode that the peripheral is functioning in. The light indicates which mode has been selected. With the gyro, the rate at which you need to turn your head to control the cursor or activate a mouse click can be customized for each user's comfort. To Depending on the user's need, multiple peripherals can be attached to netClé to expand the functionality and ease of use. The joystick can be modified with an accessory for users needing a different control surface. Depending on the user, different shapes and sizes of switches can be plugged directly into the hub. Commercially available switches require an adapter before they can be plugged into the netClé hub. The splitter allows two peripherals to be connected into one connection. A mini touch sensor is also available. It operates with just a very light touch. The possibilities for what netClé can control in the future is only growing. This represents just an introduction to the opportunity netClé currently provides. Stay tuned for more updates as netClé continues to grow and improve.
All right, so there you get a little sense as to sort of the vast range of capabilities and how versatile and customizable netClé is. And I should say that well, I think I mentioned earlier that we were in the process of installing and testing the device when, of course, our COVID pandemic interrupted our field tests, and so we had installed it for about 50 people at that time when our field teams were no longer able to go out to people's homes and visit them. Amongst those first 50 people or so, they had created some very ingenious solutions and had set the device up for people. And the initial feedback, of course, was very positive, and that's when we realized that that the social distancing rules were something that netClé could maybe help people to be a little less isolated and more connected. So we came up with a process to install the netClé remotely, and so we came up with a process and a method. And so rather than visiting people's homes, we've got an occupational therapist and a technician who conduct a video session with clients to assess. Initially, they do a session to assess the person's needs and what they want to do on the computer and their physical ability. And then the technician goes away and configures a set of input devices, and we package it and ship it to the client. And when they receive it, then the technician and the occupational therapist go through an installation session, also by video conference, and help the client to initially connect it and begin operating it. And so that's been underway for a few months now and going extremely well. And we've got netClé devices available to install remotely and for free, I should mention. We're continuing to work on the project that was funded by the Canadian government, and to make these devices available to anybody who requests one. It is on a first come, first served basis, but anyone who thinks that they might be interested in trying netClé, I encourage to visit the netclé.ca website and fill out the registration form. Basically, it's much like a Tetra RFA. It'd be just submitting to us the information that you'd be interested in trying it, and then of course we'd get in touch and begin the process of making a netClé available for someone. Let's see, yeah, and then in terms of anyone who would like to or is thinking about trying netClé, there's basically just a few key things that sort of determine whether or not you'd be it could be suitable for you. One of the key things is, of course, netClé is not necessarily going to teach somebody how to use a computer, so it probably is helpful if they have some experience using the computer. And in addition, of course, the device is most appropriate for people who have a disability or physical condition that makes it challenging for them to operate a computer with the usual computer mouse type device. And let's see, of course, someone would need a computer to connect the netClé to in order to make it worthwhile. Also, of course, with our remote installation process, people will need an internet connection and a valid email address in order that we can, of course, communicate by video conference and exchange the links and things like that that are needed in order to do that. And in certain situations as well, in fact, many of our clients, it's very helpful, of course, or even critical that they have a friend or a family member or caregiver who can help them to, well, first of all, unbox the device when they receive it, and connect it up to their computer and position the input devices and things like that initially for to begin operating it. Obviously, if a person has the dexterity and mobility, to do that for themselves, well, that's fine too. But yeah, so that's basically what it takes in order to try netClé out. And yeah, so that's pretty much all the information I had to share today. Just wanted to put up this last slide here with the contact information, of course. As I mentioned, we've got our webpage set up at netclé.ca. It's actually a page of the Tetra Society website. You can also reach out to us directly at info@netclé, and or call Tetra's toll-free number and talk with us a little bit about it. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I had to say today, and I'd like to open things up for questions if anybody wanted to find out a little bit more or had some details they were curious about. I'll put it out to you guys.
Dave, if you wouldn't mind, while you're on screen sharing, now you might have to exit out of the sharing, but
Yeah.
could you go to the Tetra website for a sec?
Yeah, what did you have in mind?
I just wanted to show people how they can get to a page on netClé right through the website.
Oh, sure. I can do that.
Because they might have the Tetra website bookmarked.
Okay.
And so if you go right to the Tetra website and then go under solutions,
Yeah,
you will see there's a link to netClé right there.
there you go.
So if you click on that, that takes you to this.
Yeah.
So for people who are more familiar with the Tetra website and think, well, can I find it on Tetra? Just under solutions, you will find netClé. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
Yep, absolutely. And you will get to that same page, as I say, if you just type in the URL netclé.ca, it'll take you, it actually redirects you to this page.
And if you scroll down, just in case people are curious.
Sure. Well, there's a button here that'll jump you right to the sign up section.
I was going to say we can go over that together, just in case people haven't done an RFA or wanted to know what the questions were. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. We just, ask some basic contact information and just, how you heard about netClé, and if people want, they can, put in a brief description of sort of what their needs are and how they think netClé might be helpful.
Okay, and then are you able to, because I don't think it was one of the videos you played, because I know that netClé, I've been really impressed, has gotten some positive testimonials. Are you able to play the Omar?
In fact, I've got it up on my screen right here. Why don't I do that?
So this is right from a client themselves for everybody to hear.
And this is, in fact, you saw a picture of this fellow. This is the graphic designer I was mentioning, who is a big fan of netClé.
Hi, my name is Omar. I'm a graphic designer, graduate from BCIT, and I use netClé. Not just as a designer, but also as a millennial. I'm trying to catching up with technology. Imagine doing that with the high level of disability. netClé pretty much helped me out to control my computer. How many people using their mouse by moving their heads? The cool thing about netClé is you can mold it based on your need. Like I use different devices with it. So some people in my situation, especially spinal cord injuries, they always try to find adaptable technology. and having netClé on the table, it's amazing. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I always like that video because, I mean, everybody can use netClé how they wish, and he's definitely using it as part of his employment. And of course, you can imagine as a graphic designer how good he would want to make things look, and netClé helps him do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I'll just stop sharing my screen there now. But yeah, exactly. No, we were Omar has been a huge advocate, shall we say, of netClé, and clearly it's helped him, and he was just blown away because he's been, of course, using some of these adaptive technologies for a number of years, and netClé was actually able to come up with some solutions that he hadn't been able to get from any other device, even ones that cost thousands of dollars.
And when we saw the form there, it says register for a free netClé. Is that still the case? Are there units? What's the cost involved?
Well, we're still working on this project where we have funding to make the device available at no cost. We've got I believe roughly 200 devices available. So we certainly have the capability to help a lot of Canadians and be a little bit better connected, and either enhance their computer use, or in some cases we've of course also made the netClé available for some young people who are using computers at school, and even ones who of course during COVID were out of school and using their computers at home with their parents' supervision, in some cases operating an actual computer for the first time. So so it's really been a wonderful opportunity to test the device, and we'll be continuing to do that for the foreseeable future.
And I just wanted to say to everybody, our development team is still looking to make it better and taking feedback. So if somebody's always wondering, it's like a Tetra device, your input can help make it better and build it better for other people. So if you try a free, if you have a free netClé, the greatest thing you can give in return is, if it works for you, help us promote it. Nothing beats a word of mouth, a good recommendation from somebody who's benefited from it. And any feedback that you give, because we will ask your opinion on it, helps our development team and future development.
Oh, I see something popped up on the chat line here. Oh no, that was an old message. Okay.
Yeah, that was old. That was me asking if it was just me who couldn't hear the sound, but we were able to work that out. Well, I want to thank you, Dave. That was very informative. And again, netClé is going to be around for a while, and it's another one of Tetra's initiatives. There have been some people that have joined us on this stream for a number of hours, so I thank you for your attention and your time. And this is the last presentation for the day on Stream 3. So this concludes TetraCon 2020, but it's been just great to connect with everyone. Again, thanks to all of my colleagues and Odin, who has helped keep us up and running here on Zoom, overseeing our Zoom. And thanks most importantly to all of our attendees. And we will definitely be looking to make it better for TetraCon 2021. In the meantime, please stay safe during COVID, and stay tuned to Tetra and the Disability Foundation YouTube channel for more content and more updates about what we're doing.
Thank you all.